Welcome everybody to another video here on the SureTech YouTube channel. My name is Sid and I'm here with my colleague Josh. And we're here to talk to you today about Russia and cybersecurity, kind of just an overall landscape. Russia is constantly in the news every day today because of the ongoing war. But even before then, they have had their names in the news because of just them as a cybersecurity threat as a whole. So we want to get into that and kind of talk about what you need to know, what is actually going on, is Russia an actual cybersecurity threat, etc. First and foremost, I want to give a few disclaimers. This is not legal advice. We're not here to give any legal advice. We're just here to share information and give you our knowledge and expertise. Secondly, your mileage may vary. The same results might not happen for everybody when it comes to the information we're talking about, especially as if you are a target or not, if you have the same level of risk or not. Again, every single company and every single person will have we have to give that tag of your mileage may vary. And third, this is not anti-Russia. We're not here to attack Russia or say anything about Russia. We're not making political statements. We're just trying to talk about what's going on, what's actually happening, and how it can affect you. Okay, so let's get into it. Josh, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go. So how is Russia unique than other cybersecurity threats out there? Like, just Russia as a whole, how is Russia unique?
Well, what makes Russia unique right now, and as you mentioned, it's all over the media, they're engaged in conflicts with the Ukraine. And there's a whole cyber warfare aspect of that, going after the energy sector, going after infrastructure. And really, you want to watch all those tools that they use, those tools and techniques as they develop, different malware, different attack techniques, because those are going to expand into the cyber crime environment, start being used against other targets. And we've seen this in the past. What starts off as a nation state going after a nation state turns into an attack technique by a cybercrime against regular business trying to extort money or just cause damage.
It's not that the government themselves are attacking you and I, right? It's that because when any nation state's at war is not just physical anymore, it's also cyber, right? And because of that, new techniques develop, and those that are actually cyber criminals will figure out what these folks are doing, potentially steal various versions of malware or whatever, and then use that to their advantage. Is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. Cyber warfare is all in its infrastructure, it's communications. That's a whole separate field that we're not going to get into. But that's how it starts. It starts with the nation state, and then it moves down into criminals. It starts with the targets being big infrastructure nation state, and then it moves down into other smaller and smaller organizations.
Gotcha.
The other thing with Russia is they are, and U.S., China, there's a large number of cyber attacks that originate in Russia, and you can read government reports detailing how many they are. Mm-hmm. And those are the cyber criminals, and those ones, particularly the ones that are in Russia, are going to have better access to these new tools and techniques that are coming out of this conflict.
So who is the threat, and how do we understand who is the threat so that anybody watching this video and we ourselves can manage that risk?
For most people, we're talking about the risk from, again, cyber criminals, these cyber gangs. There's a number of famous examples coming out of Russia that, because they target people outside of Russia, people who are not friendly to Russia, they don't get a lot of police notification or police surveillance. They're not getting arrested. As long as they go after unfriendly people, it seems like they're fine. And they want to make money, make a name for themselves, and using that name for themselves to go back to making money. So they're not, their main target is going to be to try and extort money from you. Ransomware, data theft, adware that's moving things around, stealing your data, selling it to other people, credit card theft, and also just destruction. If they can go in and they can take you offline, they can leverage that as making a name for themselves in this criminal underworld and get more opportunities to make more money, because again, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make money. They want to profit. They're going to extract money from you any way they can. Extracting your file. Ransomware is the big threat that everyone's talking about right now. We can't emphasize that enough. But then just regular old data theft. Hey, I stole your data. I stole your customer's personal information. I stole your bank information. I got into your emails and convinced you to pay $90,000 to somebody else. These are things that we see every day.
And even during the height of the pandemic, right? The emails that were going out from these bad actors saying, "Hey, we are the CDC, and here, give us this so we can give you, the latest newsletter on what's going on with COVID-19," when they weren't actually the CDC. Or some of these sites that are saying, "Hey, we'll pay us and we'll send you some I don't know what they were, but it's basically supplements. Like we'll send you supplements to help you protect from COVID-19. You'd pay money and you'd receive nothing."
Yeah, exactly. That's a huge. Anytime there's any kind of incident going on in the world, a kind of disruption, people are going to leverage that to exploit people's trust and people's fear.
Yeah.
Trust, where they come in and they say, "Oh, I'm a trustworthy source, and therefore you should click these links or do what I say." Or fear, right? "I'm the FBI, and if you don't click this link and pay me $500, I'm going to take your website down."
Yeah.
As I'm sure everyone's seen this site's been seized by the FBI.
Yep.
FBI.
Yeah. And that's the worst part, right? Is you'd never know what kind of mental games the cyber criminals will play with you. And to expand on what you just said, that's where the game is it's all mind games and psychology. If a Russia cybercrime ring decides to say, "Hey, let's pretend to be the FBI, and let's send an email to Josh and say, 'Hey, we're the FBI. We know what's going on in Russia, and let us help you stay protected from anything that Russia could be doing to you. Sign up here for our newest antivirus,' or I don't know, who knows? Like maybe they just sign up for a newsletter and they send you fake news every month. I don't know, right? It's just
or exploit it. Hey, free vulnerability scanning. Click here, give us access, and we'll find your vulnerabilities and add some.
Yeah. So you never know what these folks might do. And so what again? We've talked about different scenarios, but what is the actual risk that all of this poses that we just need to be aware of?
So the risks, again, to reiterate what we said earlier, whatever tools and techniques are being used right now in the cyber warfare are going to turn up in independent attacks. Those tools are going to propagate. Script kiddies are out there. They pay $50. They get a huge piece of code, a program. They click run, and it does amazing things that person can't do. And these tools, they're just going to keep propagating. They're going to keep moving through the system. And then another risk that we need to focus on is not the risk to your organization being attacked, but critical infrastructure. If there's an attack technique that can take out a power line or a power company, take down DNS or an ISP, or even look at what happened with gasoline, with cloning a pipeline, right? Mm-hmm. Critical infrastructure. You might not be attacked, but you're downstream from that and you get affected by it. If the power goes out, well, guess they have no power. So now you can't do anything. You can't run your business. You weren't hit by an attack, but you're affected by an attack. If your ISP goes down, you can't use your internet. You're not hit by an attack. You're affected by an attack. You need to think through for your organization, what's going to be the impact if these critical infrastructures get hit? How much can I tolerate a loss in critical infrastructure? And what do I need to do to protect myself?
Yeah. And on that note, is there, every single company every single person is going to be different in terms of what because for so many, the critical infrastructure is out of their hands, right? And there's only so much you can do if critical infrastructure does get hit. But basically, kind of what you're saying is, have you thought about it? Have you thought about if critical infrastructure gets hit in a specific manner, what are we going to do? Is that kind of what you're referencing here?
That's it exactly. There's an old saying, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Right? You can't control if somebody else gets attacked. You can only control what you do about it, how your response is. And you can do a lot to limit your exposure to yourself being attacked. And the White House has put out a whole bunch of advice. They put out 7 steps that everyone can take to protect themselves.
And that's exactly what we wanted to conclude with today.
Yeah.
What are those?
Yeah.
What are the White House, as I wrote it down in my notes here, White House direct advice?
So the White House came out. They published a bulletin, an advisory with seven steps. First one's multi-factor authentication, right? Pretty much every application, laptop, computer, you can enable multi-factor authentication, whether that's going to be a text message that you get, a phone call, an email. If you have a biometric reader, or if you're an advanced company and you've got ID cards that people are slotting in, any of that's multi-factor authentication. It's easy to implement. A lot of times you can implement it with no cost. And that's going to defeat a huge number of attacks, because now if something gets compromised, the password and the username gets compromised, there's that second token where they're texting someone's phone or sending an email. You say, oh, I'm not trying to log into this account right now. Deny access. Boom. You just stopped a cyber attack. So that's easy. Next thing you should do, modern security tools, antivirus software. Everyone should have antivirus software on their computer. There are numerous quality antivirus software programs out there. Some are free, some cost money. We're not going to get into specific product reviews right now, but Google will tell you a number of quality programs. You need to have antivirus software. And if you don't have it, you need to get it right away. Networks, they need to have firewalls. Everyone should have a firewall now. If you don't have a firewall, pause this video, contact your IT manager, buy a firewall, get it in, turn it on, and then come back to this video. There's no reason to not have a firewall. Firewalls, a lot of them have intrusion detection, intrusion protection services where they can detect if someone's on your network, stop them from getting on your network, protect you from denial of service attacks built into the firewall. So if you have a firewall, go with your IT manager, log into your profile, see what security settings you have. It's free. It's already there. You've already paid for it. You just need to go in and look. Passwords and patching. Again, none of this costs any money yet. We're still talking about free things you can do.
Except if you don't have a firewall.
Except for that's to buy the firewall. If you have to buy a firewall, that might cost a little money. But most people should have firewalls now, I hope, but maybe not. Passwords are a big one. We talked about the MFA. If someone gets your password, same time, those passwords should expire every 30 days, 90 days, depending on how sensitive the system is, how long, and you have to have a new password. Don't wait for someone to say, oh, I think someone was in my account and saw some emails that got sent and I don't recognize. Don't wait for that. You want it to already be, you want to be proactive, not reactive security, it's proactive security. Patches. People still don't have automatic patches turned on, automatic updates. Go into your software, automatic updates. I get emails, 6 emails a day, 20 emails a day. Oh, new vulnerability in this, new vulnerability in this, new person exploiting this. The US Cyber Emergency Response Team, US CERT, is a great resource. They'll tell you these pieces of software are being exploited now, today. If they're being exploited now, it's already too late. You needed to have patched it when it came out. Just do it automatically. If you can't do it automatically for some reason, have someone in your organization once a week, on Friday before everyone goes home, run your updates. It is easier to come in on Monday morning and roll back an update that broke a workflow than to recover from a cyber attack. Hands down, it is easier to do that. Next one, backups. Now, this might cost a bit of money. You have to, buy data storage somewhere, but this is critical. If you are attacked, somebody gets in, destroys your data, right? They don't even have to steal it, they can just destroy it. hardware failure, someone downstream, maybe a cloud provider gets hacked, they lose all your data. You need to have backup somewhere. You want to make sure that you have multiple backups and multiple locations. Don't have your backup, connected to a network storage device, and that's your only backup. Because if your network gets attacked and everyone's data gets corrupted, and your backup backs up the corrupted data, it's gone, right? That's why we always tell people, have an offline, cold storage, offsite backup. Someone takes the drive, unplugs it, put it in a safe, so put it in a safe deposit box, put it in a safe somewhere. Just have that second level, because that's going to be your recovery. When your data is gone, when someone's encrypted your data, that's how you're going to go back and you're going to recover yourself. And then most importantly, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Everyone has a plan so they get punched in their mouth. Mike Tyson, right? You gotta have the plan, but you gotta practice the plan. You gotta know where the plan's not working. I can write a great plan on paper, and then I bring it over to a client and say, hey, test this. And then this was missed in it. We didn't do this. This recovery method doesn't work for whatever reason. This configuration was wrong. We backed up our firewall configuration, but we backed up the wrong one. So when we loaded it, it was wrong. Practice. Find out the flaws in your plan before you need to execute your plan. Firefighters, they practice running into burning buildings before they're running in to save somebody. If I can go back to the backups, actually, encryption. And again, this might cost money. It might not cost money. Some of your services might already support encryption. Encryption is after MFA and antivirus software, encryption is right up there, because once your documents, your files, whatever we're talking about, that data is encrypted, somebody steals it, doesn't matter. Modern encryption algorithms, they're not going to break it. Or the effort required to break it's going to be more than the value of your data. They're not going to bother. They're going to move on and find somebody else. Maybe you have a slight 1 to 3 second change in some workflows from it. Probably not. Computers are faster than ever, and encryption's getting better than ever. So protect your data, encrypt it. Encrypt the backups. So if someone steals your backup, it's encrypted. Encrypted data is useless to anybody except for you, because you have the decryption key. And last, people. You and your employees. IBM did a study last year. 95% of cyber attacks involve human error. Not just involve human error. Human error was the primary failing that allowed that attack to succeed. So if you train people, security awareness education, going through your policies, making sure that your help desk isn't going to reset a password when someone calls and says, hey, I'm with the director and he's locked out. I need the password set right now, or you're going to get fired. True story. That happens. And that poor person thought that they were doing what they needed to do, reset the password, and just let an attacker right in. You got to train people. You got to have policies. Say, don't do that. If someone calls in that they're with the director, say, hey, put the director on. Let's establish that you are the director before we just give you a new password to your account. You could stop 19 out of 20 cyber attacks just by improving your employees' knowledge. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Might cost a little bit of money. You might have to bring somebody, you might have to bring in a, SureTech, one of us, or somebody else to come in and do some of that education.
And ideally,
95% of human error involved. And that's not a technical problem. That's a people problem.
And Josh, I want to just say something about that last piece you said. Bringing in an external party. Now, listen, full disclosure. Yes, we are promoting ourselves. Even if it's not us, the reason that you don't want just your internal team educating is because there's a little bit of mix of I don't know what the right word I'm looking for right now, but when you have another set of eyes come in and look at your security plan, you get someone completely separate from the day to day. They don't know what kind of different IT configurations you have, and you've made things easier for your employees. They will, having a separate set of eyes and a separate set of just, security only, will allow you to have the, perfect security plan, period. Right. Same thing here with the training of your employees. If you have your IT folks training your employees on also the cybersecurity stuff, it just isn't the same as having someone completely separate come in that has no knowledge of your system, that has no knowledge of like the intricacies of your system, has no knowledge of how your employees work. They're able to educate from a ground level that, some people may say that's not ideal because they don't know the people. My people know the people, they can talk to the people correctly, which I get. But at the same time, there's vulnerabilities in your own people, training your own people, if that makes sense. Because there's going to be just certain IT biases that they may just leave out from a security perspective to allow the employees to work better. And, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, and I'm sure that what I just said is going to be controversial for many IT folks that are out there. But again, if it's me, like if I'm the IT person, I want Josh doing the security, right? If I'm the IT person, I want Josh training everybody, because I'm going to say something that's not going to be as perfect from a security standpoint because I am the IT person. Does that make sense, Josh? I can keep ranting about it, but if there's something you want to expand upon.
No, you're on the right track. It's the same idea. You don't have the person who created something audit it. You want that outside set of eyes looking on it. And then, we're not going to get into some of the more advanced security things here, but what you really hit upon is separation of duties. That if the IT people are performing the action, you want somebody else to come in doing the security. You want somebody else to come in doing the training. Having an outside person come in, they're not going to have, the biases the unconscious biases that exist in an organization. They're not going to have the office politics. They're just going to come in. They're going to say, this is good security education. This is the training. This is what it is.
Perfect. And with that, we'll conclude this video. Thank you for watching another video here on the SureTech YouTube channel. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via the description below. We have all of our links and everything in there. You can send us an email, give us a phone call, message us on Twitter. Doesn't matter, whatever floats your boat. And again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.